Nigeria's value-added tax rises by 10% to 781 billion naira in second quarter 2023, as released by the National Bureau of Statistics. Nigeria's Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative moves to curb revenue loss in the extractive industries, plus oil steady in first trading day of the week amid OPEC Plus supply cut expectations as global stocks rally. The program is Business Express, reaching you from Abuja, Nigeria's capital. I am Musa Abubakar, your guide. Now let's start with electricity. The Nigeria Electricity Management Services Agency, NEMSA, has assured electricity consumers with prepaid meters that their purchase units will not be lost due to the ongoing process of meter upgrade by electricity distribution companies. Managing Director, NEMSA, and Chief Electrical Inspector of the Federation, Aliu Tukur Tahir, in a statement, meters upgraded by means of token identifier rollover will not lead to loss of units, but stresses that the token identifier is in standard transfer specification complaint format that identifies the date and time of the token generation to determine if a token has already been used in a prepaid meter, and meter manufacturers will be required to change their production processes in order to cater for the new manufacturing hardware SKU models. Now, the federal government is poised to ensuring fiscal discipline and accountability in public budget process as part of efforts to deliver public goods under the renewed Hope agenda. This was the focus of a 5-day training on budget preparation for ministries, departments, and agencies of government organized by the Budget Office.
Is another training exercise for budget officers as the federal government sets its sight on 2024 budget. The training exercises aim at enhancing collective capacity of the officers drawn from ministries, departments, and agencies. This is to use the budget preparation subsystem of the government, integrated financial management and information system, GIFMIS, in the budget preparation process.
Serves as a platform to equip with the tools and knowledge required to facilitate our budgetary processes. This technology-driven system enhances our efficiency, minimizes bottlenecks, and enhances accountability.
GIFMIS seeks to increase the ability of federal government to undertake central control and monitoring of expenditure as well as receipts in ministries, departments, and agencies. This is in addition to improving medium-term planning through a medium-term expenditure framework.
Now, the National Assembly says it is using data from industry's transparency. This was at the unveiling of 2190 Solid Minerals Industry Report in Abuja. What happened to the audio?
And the 8-point agenda if we do not support and strengthen anti-corruption and reform-oriented agencies like NTA.
Credible information points to the fact that foreign nationals, we are all seeing it in the news, use even our security personnel, traditional channels and money to sustain the heinous activities that is being perpetrated in the solid mineral sector. It is my hope that this report contains implementable measures to effectively curtail the nefarious activities of this sabotage of our economy.
I expect them to be able to determine the actual amount of solid minerals that is extracted and exported as against the reported amount.
Courageous findings and recommendations that, in our view, will be very useful in shaping policies in the extractive sector.
President Bola Tinubu, an 8-point agenda as the roadmap for the economy. The agenda includes food security, ending poverty, economic growth, job creation, and access to capital, among others. On Business Express today, attention is on the President's 8-point agenda, role of the financial services industry. Our guest is an economist and a financial expert, Aliu Elias. Thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, to delve into the subject matter, President Tinubu some days ago rolled out his 8-point agenda, of which access to capital is in focus. What should we expect from the financial services sector?
Definitely, the 8-point agenda actually speaks to Nigerians' problem, because you see that most of the challenges we are facing now are being captured in the 8-point agenda. In the area of food security, has already declared emergency for food security in terms of poverty eradication, though I like to call it poverty reduction, because I don't think we can eradicate poverty in Nigeria maybe in the next 30 years. Also, he made mention of financial inclusion and access to capital. But like you rightly mentioned, access to capital remains very, very fundamental and vital tools to really engender development in any economy, and to really create access to capital. A lot of things need to put in place. You agree with me that about 80% employment that is available in Nigeria is by small and medium scale enterprises. So because of that, there's need for us to create room for access for capital. Access for capital not only even help this MSME only, it will also create room for innovation, even bringing up of new products. But what is our challenges in terms of getting capital in Nigeria? If you look at it critically, now we need to go to bank to access capital, but accessing capital needs you to have collateral. And if you look at collateral that they mostly ask for, it to be a physical collateral. So how will someone who have an intellectual property, people like Elon Musk and a lot of them globally, have partnership of their country to really bring all their intention and their innovation to bear? So I think we must go beyond physical infrastructure. I recall there was a time that they said every citizen or a youth corps member who want to access loan can submit their discharge certificates and get some loans by the time they return. These are part of the things that we need. So we must be creative. CBN alongside Nigerian banks must be creative to request for kind of collateral. So it must not be physical collateral. There could be different reasons. In fact, a chief in a particular environment, maybe a traditional ruler, can be a collateral, can sign for some people, and they will ensure that they actually use it judiciously. So for us to really get access to capital as expected to engender development, there must be another creativity towards provision of collateral.
Now, another issue is that of interest rates. We are seeing soaring interest rate all over the world, and Nigeria is no exception. There's also the possibility that with the inflation rate we've seen, the CBN might likely increase the interest rate. But how do you see this playing out? Should now the government step in through its intervention, like we've seen in the past, maybe through CBN intervention, to maybe give out accessible loans at the single digit interest rate?
There's a lot of problem facing the manufacturing sector and also MSME. Among them is interest rate, inflation rate. You also see tax is a problem. We have multiplicity of of taxation. You also see that energy costs is another problem. You can also see forex problem. So these are a lot of problems that I need to look at properly, because if you are going to go for loan, these are the things we compare. Because if you look at the MPR, about 18.5 or so, and if you look at that, that will discourage every person that wants to go to bank to get loan. So I think the government can also create an avenue whereby people can access loan that will be single digits. So if you are MSME and you are in this particular sector, there will be a window for you to access loan at this digit, because government must come to terms and understand that beyond you being in business or regulating business, you must also partner people to survive in their business. So I think there could be a window to provide that, perhaps for manufacturing sector, for me, for us to grow and beyond 75 billion for 75 manufacturing sector, we must also create a window for manufacturing sector to access loan.
Sorry, let me say this.
Right.
I think previously we've seen government also cutting the CRR from over 30% to 10%, just to increase. I mean, just to encourage investment in the real sector. How do you think that will help out in access to capital?
If you ask me, this current government have signals of positivity towards all this industry, but what we only need is that policy must be very, very strategic, and they must be able to really operationalize this policy, because most of these policies, they are there, but people cannot even access, and it's not well operationalized. So, but in terms of signal, you could see that the solid mineral are looking at way to really encourage people to come into the business, telling people that go and form cooperative. From there you can access a kind of loan and whatever. So there is effort, but we want it to be much more operational.
That's the traditional way of accessing loan, right?
Pardon?
That's the traditional way of accessing loan, right?
Well, it's the best way, and to make sure people are committed.
I'm referring to a situation whereby people can now bring out their savings from a cooperative, save some money. Then, well, let's just move on. Government is looking to convince owners of huge bank deposits to invest in the economy, as well as foreign direct investments. What do you think about this plan?
I think that's the best way to go for Nigeria economy, because if you ask me, most people, maybe like the well-known people that invested in Nigeria, for those people that invest in Nigeria, you discover that they really helped a whole lot. So I think our political leaders, our leaders, in terms of people that are much wealthy, should come on board and invest their money. You know, when you invest your money, you create a lot of opportunity. Perhaps you also get much more ROI, you know, return on investment. So I think that's the best way. So if the president can also lead by example, I think that will be happy. That will help. Perhaps if you look at our current president, he has a lot of investment already in Nigeria. I think with that body language, he can go ahead to encourage these people to also invest in Nigeria, and that will also bring in more foreign direct investment.
But what about the risk of mismanagement?
Well, the risk of mismanagement depends on the manager of it as well, because when you are giving such a thing, you have to make it much more organized. If it is well organized, it will definitely be well managed. So when Dangote has been existing in Nigeria for long, a lot of them have been existing in Nigeria for long, and their businesses are well managed. So if you structure the business properly, I think we can achieve the expected result.
Now, financial inclusion is another thing. What stones are still unturned to achieve financial inclusion in the country, especially in the northern part of the country?
If you ask me generally, I think in terms of financial inclusion, Nigeria has tried to an extent, and we can give credit to that CBN for financial inclusion, because you could see that people access and there is availability of a way of maybe getting their money or depositing their money through different platforms. You could see that we have local retail outlets of different of different financial institutions. Some are not even brick and mortar. They don't have a physical bank office, but people access things. But what I think we should do more is that maybe we should be specific this time around, because some people have the challenges of maybe being a commercial bank that is much more conventional. Maybe some people want a special way of maybe accessing their money and giving out their saving their money. Perhaps it could be, you know, now we have some Islamic bank. Maybe the northern part of Nigeria is tilting towards that area, so we can create more and make such bank available for them. But for in terms of assessing and making availability of way of assessing banks, I think Nigeria is doing well, because if you look at it, people use their mobile digital platform to assess a lot of things, and you could see that people retail outlets are also there where POS, people can save from there, people can also, people can send, and people can really take money from it. I think that is better. Perhaps what we could also look at is just to regulate it better so that people can access it with ease.
Aliu Elias, thank you very much for taking your time to come on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Now moving on oil and gas, Italian energy group NTA on Monday signed an agreement to sell its unit Nigerian Ajib oil company to Nigerian counterpart Wando. The group in a statement says the Wando, which focuses on oil and gas exploration and production, has interest in 4 onshore blocks and 2 onshore exploration leases in Nigeria. The group added that after the sale, which is subject to authorization of local and regulatory authorities, NTA will retain Owando's 5% stake in the Shell Production Development Company, joint venture operated by Shell. Now, oil prices were stable on Monday amid expectations that major producers will keep supplies tight, as hopes grew for the Federal Reserve to leave interest rates unchanged to avoid deepening the U.S. economy or dampening the U.S. economy. Brent crude futures crept 16 cents higher, $88.71 a barrel. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude for October futures rose 18 cents to $85.73 a barrel. Both contracts ended last week at their highest in more than half a year after 2 previous weeks of losses. On that note, let's see how other commodities are trading around the globe. The stock market in Nigeria appreciated last week as the NGX ranked second best performing stock market in Africa in the last 3 months. Boston Abel has a summary of market activities for the week.
The NGX All-Share Index and market capitalization for week ended 1st September 2023 appreciated by 3.00% to close the week at 67,527.19 basis points and 36.958 trillion naira. All other indices finished higher, with the exception of NGX Growth Index, which depreciated by 1.85%, while the NGX ASM Index closed flat. At a turnover of 2.866 billion shares worth 37.050 billion naira in 33,968 deals was traded by investors on the floor of the exchange. The financial services industry led the activity chart with 1.424 billion shares valued at 13.398 billion naira, traded in 18,216 deals. The conglomerate industry followed with 652.296 million shares worth 4.4 billion naira in 4,931 deals. The third place was the consumer goods industry with a turnover of 264.3 million shares worth 12 billion naira in 10,821 deals. Trading in the top 3 equities, Transnational Corporation, Sterling Financial Holdings Company, and Fidelity Bank, they jointly accounted for 1.065 billion shares worth 6.525 billion naira in 6,801 deals. For exchange-traded products ATP, a total of 17,367 units valued at 4.581 million naira were traded in 104 deals. Also, a total of 734,103 units of federal government bonds valued at 702.533 million naira were traded in 24 deals. 55 equities appreciated in price during the week, 28 equities depreciated in price, while 72 equities remained unchanged. Boss said the Able Business Express.
Our global shares and commodities rise as sentiment towards China brightens. We now join Ineka Oko for global market updates. Ineka, is over to you now.
Thank you, Musa. Hello and welcome to the global market segment. Global stocks rose on Monday, lifted by a growing expectation that the Federal Reserve will not raise interest rates anymore, although a holiday in the United States made for thin trading ahead of key readings on U.S. services and Chinese trade and inflation later in the week. Now, Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index led gains in the region this Monday, powered by a surge in property stocks, as other Asia-Pacific markets were mixed to start the week. The Hang Seng Index jumped 2.51%. The Shanghai Composite also rose 1.4%, while in Japan, the Nikkei 225 topped 0.7%. European markets kicked off the week on a positive note, buoyed by overnight trade in Asia Pacific. The DAX rose 0.48%, the FTSE 0.47%, and the French CAC is up 0.64%. Back home, African markets traded mixed to start the week. South Africa's JSE Africa Top 40 climbed 1.14% in early trade. Namibia's overall index also gained 0.99%, while the other stocks ticked down. And that's Global Market Review. It's back to you, Musa.
Thank you, Neka. And now to today's closing figures. We have the all-share index closed 68,279.14 basis points. A total of 845 million shares exchange hands in 11,934 deals. Equity capitalization closed at 37.3 trillion naira. Well, that's it. This is where we end this edition of Business Express. We value your feedback, so keep the comments, observations, and suggestions coming. Be informed that all previous episodes are available on YouTube on the NTA's channel. Business Express comes on Tuesday at 9:30 a.m. I am Musa Abubakar.